Hey y'all. Um, by this time you know who I am. Kendall Tyson, owner of Aspire Counseling and Wellness Center. And I am starting this new thing um, called Quarantine Chronicles. If you've been following me at all, you know that I love to do video blogs. It's a way for me to kind of get my thoughts out. I mean, I love to write, but it's something about being able to connect with people via video. And, I came up with this idea because I'm getting ready to return back to Beijing. Hallelujah. And I needed to have a constructive way in which to kind of process my thoughts, my feelings, because going back to Beijing, we are required to be isolated in actual quarantine, meaning no contact whatsoever with anybody else in the outside world for 2 weeks. We have to stay in a hotel. The Wi-Fi is not going to be that good old high-speed Wi-Fi that I'm used to or that I like. I'll be back overseas with that 13-hour time difference, so I won't have the luxury of waking up, talking to my mom and seeing my daddy, calling my sister and my friends, right? As easily or as frequently as I had being over here. So I needed to find an outlet to kind of get my needs met, right, in a constructive way. So I created the Quarantine Chronicles, and this is the first episode. So thank you for joining me. And so it all starts with, I got my invitation letter. If you follow me on Facebook, you know that I received my invitation letter from the Beijing Education Commission. I think that's what it's called. Because so much has changed, right? And now I have to reapply for a new visa. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. So it could take anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks to be able for the process to be sped up and for me to be back on a plane to Beijing. But it's weird because while I've enjoyed being home for the most part with my parents, getting to see my sister, brother-in-law, my nieces, communicate with the people that I care about, on a daily basis, it's been difficult, being an independent woman, not having your own space, needing that space to kind of regulate when you're out of sorts and stuff, and just really not knowing what the future looks like. And y'all know I'm all about honesty and transparency. Even as a mental health professional, I struggle. I'm a human. So please know, practice self-compassion, because no one is perfect. We're all fallible. But, moment of self-disclosure, which literally that's what all this is. I really struggled with anxiety for the last 7 months since being back, not because everything just happened so suddenly, and not knowing. And I was with another school prior to now. So not knowing when I was going back, how I was going to get my stuff, paying rent. I mean, just a lot, right? And then being here, just really feeling out of sorts and trying to formulate a way in which to care for myself in a holistic, healthy manner, which I found. It's been a learning experience, and I haven't always been easy with myself throughout this process. But honestly, with the great support from my mom, from my friends, my therapist, Dr. Renelda Robeson, is a godsend. I've been able to create a really good space for myself. And so some of the things that I've been able to do since I've been here, I mean, when I really think about it, I'm kind of critical. I'm really hard on myself sometimes. I'm very much a perfectionist. I'm still working on that. So if you're a perfectionist, you can kind of feel me, right? So ways in which I've been able to channel the nervous energy that I've had is, and I'm just, having to remind myself, I really created a whole clothing line, the Aspired Life, which has allowed me to kind of outpour the things that pop up into my head that the Lord gives me at like 3:15 in the morning. write it down, type it in my phone, put it on paper, create something the next day, right? I've been able to do that. Creating journals. I love to write and I love to help people set goals. So I create journals. I'm gonna get ready. I'm getting started on writing a book. My YouTube channel, and none of this is bragging. It's just me really, honestly, verbally processing kind of the things that I've been blessed to be able to do while being home for 7 months, almost 8 months. And I'm probably not even remembering a lot of stuff, really working on my business. I have an amazing business coach, Nicole Lawyer. She's amazing. And just being supported by other therapist friends of mine, helping me to grow my business. And what I would definitely say some of the most important things is reconnecting with family. I am like fiercely independent, right? I'll probably always be that way. But being able to reestablish relationships with my family has been the most important part of being home. Has it always been easy? No. And I'm pretty sure that I have gotten on my parents' last nerve because they're used to having their house to themselves, right? And no one thought that I would be here for 7 months, but the 7 months went really quickly. So it's, in a nutshell, been a learning experience. And one thing my mom always says is that, God always has a plan and a process. So you just have to trust the process. And honestly, that is something that I'll probably have to work on for the rest of my life. Because I like to know that for me, there's comfort in knowing, but I know that to have faith is very important. And whenever I am feeling dysregulated because I don't know what's going to happen, then I have to figure out ways or implement the ways in which I know to positively cope. So I'm not just going to ramble on when I do these things. I am going to offer some stuff for you. Out of my cute brains, beauty and brown skin mug. So I would say 2 major lessons that I've learned since being here for 7 months is this. It might sound trite, but it's grow where you're planted. None of us expected to be in isolation, physically distant, feeling less socially connected in the middle of a pandemic with all of the racial unrest, banned from countries. None of us expected this to happen when coronavirus really hit the scene. And so I know for me, I value being productive for a whole slew of reasons, right? I want to feel like I am managing my time well. I want to feel like, I want to be able to create something. I want to feel like I'm doing something good for the world. And that can sometimes amount in being busy just to not be present. I'm sure people have struggled with that as well. So that, which, distraction for the most part can be a way in which to cope, but you can't distract yourself forever. You have to deal with the elephant in the room, the thing that is causing you the distress that you're experiencing. And so grow where you're planted. What I've learned is how will I utilize the time before me to develop into the best version of myself and to hopefully the version that's more closely aligned with what the Lord has for me. Now, I'm stubborn. I like things my way. I like to be in charge. I like to know what's going to happen. I like to create the flow. So, I'm sure you can imagine that being made to be still was not an easy task. So for those of you that are similar to me in the way in which you live your life or you feel or whatnot, I can only imagine how you may have struggled as well. I wish that I was more like my sister. She's very good with the flow, right? Doesn't stress about a lot. That's not me. I'm very type A, and I'm okay with that. But growing where you're planted. I've literally been planted in Huntsville, Texas for 7 months, place of my birth, where my parents reside, and I'm a verbal processor. And so for some people that don't know me, that might sound like complaining, but I verbally processed a lot, right? It's very difficult to grasp things that I don't understand, where I don't see the reasoning, I don't like it. But at some point I had to when I got tired of being anxious and stressed out, I can't sleep, eczema flaring up, um, and things like that. I just really had to sit. It was just, I don't even know what happened. It was one day that I just sat and I was like, okay, obviously this is not changing anytime soon. So what are you going to do? It might have been a conversation I had with my therapist, because she gets me right every time I talk to her, which really she reinforces what I'm already thinking. I kind of need that additional validation to step forward in that thing. But it was just like, you have all this time. How are you going to use it in a productive manner? I was also, coached and influenced by a good classmate of mine who really tried to be very positive and speak, affirmatively to me, believing in the gifts that I've been blessed with, and how do I then put that out into the world to bless other people. So I had to make up my mind. I'm going to be here. So how am I going to allow this time to be not only to my benefit, but to the benefit of other people? And I sat down. I'm still working on that vision board. It's very dynamic. It's not static. It changes frequently. And I just wrote out a whole host of goals that I've wanted to achieve, not knowing what the timeline would be. And that has been difficult, even understanding the process, even understanding that you don't know how long you'll be here. It's difficult to not know, like, what sequence of time am I dealing with? Am I talking 2 months? Because I thought I was going to be gone in March. I didn't think I would get to be around for the birth of my niece, Imani, but I was, thank God. Or my niece's, Naomi's 3rd birthday, I was, thank God. So there's so many blessings that happen in the midst of being planted in a place that I didn't intend to be for as long as I have been. So yeah, I just had to kind of like do a brain dump of all the things that I've wanted to do. Where can I start? Which can be overwhelming. So it's you chunk it, you break it down into the most actionable. What is the highest priority? Where do you want to start? And then you start to formulate goals, your SMART goals around that. I have this actual strategy that I use with clients is we'll do like quarterly goals. And so for each month of the quarter, you identify a big goal that you want to work on, and you break that down into action steps, which is also something that my business coach, teaches us to do on a weekly basis to help grow our business, further what we want to do with our private practices. So yeah, the first lesson was grow where you're planted. And the second one, which again might seem like common sense, but when you're in the midst of it, it can be difficult to do, is practice gratitude. Something so simple can be hard to do at times when you're warring against not understanding. You want to understand. You're doing everything you can to understand, verbally processing, complaining, whatever you want to call it. Just trying to gain a sense of why, right? And I'm, even at the age that I am, I'm really learning that maybe the why isn't as important as the what will you do with, again, the time. And I'll probably start crying because I'm like all over the place emotionally at the moment. So gratitude has been something that's gotten me over the hump on a few days. Really being grateful for the fact that I have amazing parents, healthy mom, hardworking father, my sister, her husband, my nieces, who I love with all my heart, my friends here and abroad, in my right mind, even if I am, as a professional dealing with anxiety and depression, during these 7 months. we're not immune to experiencing the human condition at all. Because there's just been so much uncertainty, right? I recently was able to attend the celebration of life for a good friend of mine. And it's just been really difficult to know that she was such a ray of light and had so much ahead of her. And God called her home for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't need to know. I just know that there's a lesson in it all, that I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't know what the next 6 months looks like. I just know that I have today. And how do I make today the best today that it can possibly be? How is it going to set me up to experience the type of tomorrow that I dream of, right? And so I ask you, what are you doing today that's going to help you live the type of tomorrow that you seek? What do you have to be grateful for? Who are the people in your life that really breathe life into you, that really help you to see the blessing that you are, not only to the world, but that you are into other people's lives? So I'm not gonna belabor you, but this is what I'll be doing for the next probably month. This will be the first one, but definitely the 2 weeks while I am by myself in a hotel in Beijing. I hope it's at least a 4-star hotel. I like my nice hotels. But yeah, please be on the lookout for blog posts, video posts, groups that I'm doing. I'm a helping professional. I love to help people. I'm an educator wellness coach. So for my educators out there, if you are looking for ways in which to incorporate more holistic wellness, mental health, physical health, stress relief, ways in which to mitigate the negative effects of burnouts, how do you better communicate with people that you work with? I mean, I've been in education for 13 years, so I am definitely qualified to speak on all these issues and assist you through your process. Therapy courses coming. There's a lot, as I've been rooted where I am, a lot has come down the pike, right? God has installed a lot in my head, and now it's time for it to bear fruit. So I just encourage everyone to, as I always say, prioritize your mental health and identify, what are those 1 to 2 things that you really want to do in the next few months that you can really put some work behind, be action oriented about, and just put out into the world. I mean, there's no time like the present, because again, we don't know what tomorrow will look like, so we might as well utilize the time that we have today. I hope that everyone is well, that everyone is healthy, that everyone is safe. And hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to the website, www.aspirecounselingwell.com, or just leave me a note on my YouTube channel. It's the same, Aspire Counseling and Wellness Center, with a comment. And I wish you all well. So this is day 1 of Kendall's Quarantine Chronicles. Bye.